everybody. Welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Leah, and on this episode, I'm giving you a quick shot of romance, but author spotlight edition. And on this author spotlight, I am welcoming two powerhouses of romance, Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for
Hi.
having us.
Thank you so much for having us. If you hear wailing, it is not the souls of the damned. It is my German Shepherd who was excommunicated from the kitchen. So I could record this because both of them wanted to let me know about every UPS driver. And I don't know if
It's
this
the
is an issue for
season.
anyone else. Yeah, it's the season of UPS
Yeah.
drivers and Amazon trucks. And
Yeah.
they just like to let me know in case I didn't hear that there's an Amazon delivery guy outside.
So our dog, he recognizes like my car and my husband's car, but like if there's a weird car that pulls into the driveway, he immediately loses his mind.
I
It's
mean,
It's
like,
some of
like,
your dogs are doing something right though. I feel like if you walk into my house, my cats are like the Sabrina Carpenter song where like, if you want the house tour, just feel
just
everything.
follow.
Yeah.
Follow me, I'll tell you where all the goods are.
Yeah.
Okay, so Julie Murphy splits her time between North Texas and Kansas with her husband, who loves her, and her cats, who tolerate her. She's the author and co-author of over 20 books for all ages, including Dumplin', now a Netflix original film in the Christmas Notch series, co-written with her best friend, Sierra Simone. When Julie isn't writing, she's hunting for the perfect slice of cheese pizza, discovering a new hobby she will soon discard, and plan her next travel adventure. Sierra Simone is a USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestselling author and former library employee who spent too much time reading romance novels at the information desk. Her notable works include Priest, American Queen, and Salt Kiss. She lives with her husband, teens, and two giant dogs in the Kansas City area. So, before we start talking fundamentals of being a good girl, let's get to know the two of you as authors. So, were you both romance readers for a long time before you started writing?
I would say that I was kind of a latecomer to romance in the sort of bell curve of people
Okay.
coming to romance. I think a lot of people came to romance, as middle schoolers or high schoolers.
Yeah.
I think I was probably on the tail end of the cohort of people who were really discovering it via their mom's bookshelves or their
Yeah.
grandma's bookshelves. And I think I was kind of also on the sort of ascendant curve of people who were discovering romance adjacent content online through fan fiction. And so I was kind of situated in a sweet spot for both of those. But for some reason, it wasn't until I was in my mid 20s that I really started reading romance in earnest. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. It turns out that the thing that I thought I was too good for, because, growing up, I would see these covers with women in like blue jeans and I don't know, a guy in a sweater, and I'd be like, no one in blue jeans has anything to say to me. I am really primarily interested in people who are wearing suits of armor, and I mean, this is so long before romantasy. This is going to sound ridiculous to anyone whose entrance into romance was romantasy, but there was a time when that, if you wanted dragons, you had to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I really started breaking into romance and just absolutely fell in love. And I was, kind of coming in when there was sort of a Wild West vibe and indie romance in 2013, 2014. And there was just so much, I guess, stuff that was kind of unbound by some of the rules of the genre
Hmm.
as well, like really kind of exploring some like liminal spaces, particularly when it comes to like, the spicier end.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't long for the domino to fall where I was like, I've been writing these young adult books with kissing in them, but I could do so much more. And then I corrupted Julie, but she had been a romance reader long before that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's entirely true. I think I started like I was such a movie buff going into writing, like that was really
Okay.
and like also obsessed with young adult books. Both Sierra and I started out in libraries, and I
Hmm.
started out really working with teens, and like my entire career is basically born out of an obsession for Twilight.
Okay.
Um, so
So
that's for
did you
me.
do like write fanfic before you
Oh,
started?
I wish. No,
Okay.
I didn't write any fan fiction. Um, I feel like I would totally get a kick out of doing that now. if I just had time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't start out with fan fiction or anything like that, but it really did come out of Twilight for me.
Okay.
And then Sierra really threw me in the deep end with romance. I feel like a lot of people like ease their way in, and then like I'm basically like one of those readers who like their first book is like, um, you know, centaurs and like milking and minotaurs and
I mean, I do like a good Minotaur Milky.
I know who doesn't like, is it Morningstar milking? Morning Glory.
Morning Glory Milking
Morningstar
Farm.
would be much more of
I
a
think Morningstar is like a vegetarian like food company.
it is. It's also a name for Satan. So
I was gonna say I was in like the exact opposite direction. I was
yeah.
like, it's also a
I
name
could just see like the
for
yellow
Lucifer.
like label
Yeah.
like at the
Yeah.
store.
Morningstar milking. Oh my God, that's our next idea.
There we go. Although
Satan
I will
milking.
say that like most biblical scholarship says that the historical morning star was like a Roman or a
Oh my
Babylonian
God,
ruler. I can't remember
stop.
which. So anyway, it
This is
probably
half of our
originally wasn't
friendship,
about the
by the way.
devil.
Yeah, no. This is we will end up talking about Neanderthals before the end of this podcast, just so you know.
Oh, that's fine. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. So what made you both publish that first book?
I would have to say displaced pride. I think that so kind of going back to Twilight, what part of what really encouraged me to write with Twilight was the fact that Stephanie Meyer was like this Mormon woman who wrote about sparkling vampires and then
Hmm.
got like the entire world to read it.
Right.
And I thought that was wild. Like to
Yeah.
me, that was like someone went on Shark Tank with the most absurd idea of all time and got all the sharks to invest. I'm a Shark Tank fan, by the way.
There are some
Um,
crazy things on Shark Tank
there
because
are.
I mean,
Yeah.
can't say that I've watched it, but I've doom scrolled enough that I got like
Yeah.
on Shark Tank like TikTok somehow.
Sierra can't watch it. It's too much, it's too embarrassing for her to watch, and I watch it because it is embarrassing.
Okay.
So I thrive in a setting like that. Go ahead, say it. What,
I was just gonna say it's ritualized humiliation. I'm
yeah, I
like,
love it.
our society has lost the capacity to do like, public hangings like they did in Victorian England. So instead we have Shark Tank.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Anyways, that's really like that's where like I love Twilight, and this is not a knock on Stephanie Meyer at all, but that book was sort of like a dare for me. Like it
Okay.
was like okay, she can do this, then what can I do?
Okay.
And then I just ended up sticking with it. So the first book was purely dumb luck. Yeah.
Just a happy accident, right
Yeah.
place, right time.
I don't think it was dumb luck at all. It was a lot of hard work. But I will say Julie has a little bit of oppositional defiance disorder. And so,
Same. Same.
yeah. So the more people are like, this thing is really hard to do, the more Julie is going to be like, well, then watch me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of why if someone was like, publishing a book is as easy as one, two, three, Julie'd be like, no
Mm.
interest.
Wow, but
I'm
it's
gonna
not that easy. Like there's a lot that goes into publishing a book.
Yeah, it is. And for me, Julie and I were young adult debut authors the same year in 2014.
Okay.
And, I had dreamed of being a novelist for a long time. I went to school for creative writing because I'm not smart enough to have a different major. And so it had to be creative writing or, I don't know, pottery or something. So I
Gosh,
ended up
untrue, by the way, completely untrue.
basket weaving, textile. Actually, I don't think I'm smart enough for basket weaving or textiles. That looks hard. And so I
She's
knew that I wanted
crazy.
to be a novelist for a long time. And I also was really sort of radicalized by Twilight. It came out when I was 18, my freshman year of college. I still have my like first edition copy that I dragged with me on campus everywhere, reread it a million times, loved it, and was writing young adult. And ended up being kind of disillusioned by the publishing industry. I was really young. I was 24. I wasn't very
Hmm.
good at advocating for myself. And I was kind of pushed into a very commercial space when I'm not naturally a very commercially minded writer. And some friends of mine at the time, I was writing them. See, my origin story is a little bit about fan fiction. I was writing them fan fiction of Jane Eyre, where it
Okay.
was like every scene where you just want Mr. Rochester and Jane to like start making out. I was like, okay,
I mean,
and
that's
then
fair.
here's what, yeah, and then here's what happens next in my mind. And one of my friends at the time was like, why don't you just repurpose this into an original fic? And I was like, that's not a bad idea. And it was like 2014. So it was like, just throw it up on Amazon under a fake name. So I thought of my fake name in about 2 seconds. So I was like, all right, the street I grew up on, and then my middle name, which is Simone, and I grew up on Sierra Circle. So I was like, okay, fine. So Sierra Simone, thought about it for like no time at all, threw up the first book, and had so much fun that I ended up focusing mostly on writing romance. Like I just was like totally freed, I guess, of all of these sort of market expectations and commercial pressures that I felt hemmed in by in YA. And I ended up writing Priest that same year, which is like totally not what you're supposed to do when you're an author. You're supposed to write the same book, a few times in a row in the sense that, stay in a genre, kind of build a brand. And I was like writing kinky Victorians. And then I was like, what if I wrote a contemporary priest book? That's what the kids really want. And, um, but I had so much fun doing it. And I found so many fellow perverts after publishing that I was like, I think that I want to do this full time and kind of transitioned into writing romance full time. And I was like, Julie, it's so much better over here. You can have so much more fun over here.
True, it's true. We were in a random like at a random retreat in the middle of was it Kansas together when you published Priest and I f- this is so random. This has nothing to do with anything. I just remember falling asleep in a full bathtub and you were like, "Don't die." Uh,
So, for your writing, when you sit down and write, what is your process? Do you plan? Do you pants? Do you have like a way to get you motivated? Do you have a certain way that you write? Like, I've talked to so many authors, and everybody has different things. Like, one author wears a tiara when she writes because she just it's how she like feels empowered when she's doing it. Um,
okay.
and then like there was another one where she listens to like when she's writing certain things, she listens to the same song for days on end on repeat, and her family hates it, but she still does it.
That's Yara. I think I'm doing it wrong, honestly.
I
I
mean,
should,
everybody has their way.
yeah, I should sit down to write like firefighter romance with a firefighter hat on.
There you go.
Um, I think that Sierra should answer this one first because I think she has more of a Um, don't shake your head at me. This is the problem with only audio only podcast. We love them because we don't have to put on any sort of makeup and I can show up fresh out of the shower. But then she can make faces at me and no one will believe me because everyone is like, Sierra's so sweet. And I'm like, no,
I
she's
know.
not.
It's my secret. I'm actually very, very prickly sometimes, but I feel like you would have an equally salient answer. I think that the problem with Julie and I is that both of our writing processes are so chaotically variable. And
Okay.
so I feel like every book is sort of like a different. I mean, we've been doing this professionally for 12 years now, 14
Hmm.
years, I can't remember, some amount of time. And I feel like every book I start and I'm like, Google.com, how to write a book.
It's like
And
every single time we're like a deer in headlights. Like we're like, oh, a book. How do I write that? It's my very first time.
I know. And I am such a I'm the kind of person who sees a really pretty looking journal or planner in a store and I
Hmm.
buy it because I'm like, this time is going to be different. This time, this is actually the journal that's going to change me. This is actually the planner that's going to turn me into a planner person. And then my whole life is going to be different. My skin is going to be clear. My bills will be paid on time.
And how many of
Um,
those are sitting empty?
oh my gosh, like wildly empty, like one page is written in. And so every time I write a book, I'm like, this new process, this one weird trick is going to make it so that I can write a book easily this time. But I will say one thing I think that is pretty consistent about both of our processes is that we really do need this sort of like messy period of exploration at the beginning of a book
Okay.
where we have a bunch of notes and we have some ideas about where we want to go, but we really have to kind of write our way through the book in order to see like the middle and then the end. Like I
Hmm.
have to kind of get to know the characters in order to know what they'll choose to do in any given set of circumstances. And I know brilliant authors who are able to sort of hold characters in their minds before they ever even start writing, and they're able to sort of project what the characters will do. And they're able to write these amazing outlines. And I am so envious of that because I actually think I kind of have to get in there and see them and go. It's like my little character aquarium. Like I just have to watch them swim around for a little
Hmm.
while and then I can kind of get in there. And so I think that's it. I would also say that Julie and I are both very music heavy writers, like in the
Okay.
sense that we do need a lot of music. Each book I write, I need a specific playlist for. And this is not always the playlist that ends up like being reader facing because my internal playlist is a lot bigger and it's a lot messier because
Okay.
it'll be like the song doesn't fit anything else about the book, but like minute 3, second 14 is like, it makes me
This
feel
one tone, like
this
it,
one
this bright
tone.
spot.
Yeah. Julie is a lot more like I would say like you pick an album and you're kind of like, this Olivia Rodrigo album is like the soundtrack of the book.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I listen to music like a 22-year-old college girl, like the summer after college. What do you know?
Oh, I let the record show that I was like, point of order. We just did our Spotify Wrapped, and I made Julie show me hers, and
What was
her
your
listening
age?
is 22. Her listening age is 22. My
Yeah.
listening age, 38, which is my actual age. I was like, I don't know if that's good or bad because my husband's listening age is like 51 or something. It's like 10 years older than him. But I am exactly my age. Julie, 22
Yeah,
internally.
yeah, yeah.
See, I
I
don't
mean,
use Spotify, so it doesn't give me an age. But my daughter, who is gonna be 12 soon, like when we were in the car, she's the DJ, so my age is skewed if Apple Music gave us an age.
yeah, yeah. I think actually our process, which is 100% spaghetti on a wall,
Okay.
is actually really easily defined by the fact that like we have to write the first chapters of our books like months before we actually start writing our books
Okay.
because we have to, I mean, especially me, like that has to exist in my head for a while before I can
You got to
go
percolate.
in and start writing. And then usually we wait so long that we have 4 weeks to then write the rest of the book. Um, every time we think this is going to be the time when we write the book on time and we have time to really like let ourselves like steep in the book. And that's
Yeah.
never the case. So yeah, we're chaos.
So when you're writing individually, is your process different than when you're writing together, or is it spaghetti on the wall all around?
So it's worse because I would say that like when we're writing together, it's spaghetti on the wall,
Okay.
and when we're writing alone, it's like spaghetti on the floor.
Okay.
And it's like you were also trying to make like scampi, and so there's also like shrimp and tomatoes on the floor too. Like it's I think working together forces us to externalize our ideas more, which
Okay.
is effective. Like I think that we are better at creating outlines when you're working together because you kind of have to be when you're co-writing because you
Hmm.
need the other writer to sort of understand where you're going to carry the story from chapter to chapter. But we also try to give ourselves plenty of room for one of us to write something in one chapter and for that to really spark something for
Hmm.
the next writer. And we go by character POV. So,
Okay.
I'll pick a character, Julie will pick a character, and that way we can kind of keep the feeling of each character a little bit consistent,
Hmm.
just between our own voices. Where when I'm writing, I'm very much a discovery writer. I'm very much a pantser. And so there's a lot of going back and adding things in. And yes, it's just a very messy excavation.
Yeah, I think that writing with Sierra forces me to commit to things like early on in a book.
Okay.
So this is so ridiculous, but character names for me change constantly. And so like the most recent book I wrote, the male, like the love interest, his name wasn't what it was until like the round just before copy edits, which is absolute chaos. And if anyone told me that, I would be like, you're doing it wrong. Like you don't even know your character to the point where you can name this man. So yeah, I think writing with Sierra, for as disorganized and chaotic as we both can be, actually forces me to be slightly more organized. So I think she's got one up on me there.
I think it's interesting because I've talked to a bunch of people who co-write and they all have different processes. Like I spoke with Becca and Krista Ritchie and they were talking how I can't remember which twin it was, but one of them does like the bulk of the writing and the other one comes back and like reads and like will change things. And she was saying how like this one time they were writing a book and she like completely changed like the scope of like the direction of the story, and then she's like, yeah, so we had to rewrite everything past that, but I forgot to tell her at first. And so it's like, but it just is so interesting because some they just kind of pick up in the middle, like you guys like switch like povs. It's just, I think it's so fascinating like how everybody has different like processes.
Yeah, I would say I've actually had the good fortune to do a couple different co-writing projects
Hmm.
with different authors. And I would say even just when one author is the same and I'm working with different authors, the process is different.
Right.
And I think that's one of the beauties of co-writing is that you can discover a partnership that sort of plays to your own strengths. And so Julie has such a background in theater and being such a movie buff and trying her hand at screenwriting and everything. Like Julie has such a knack for dialogue and for pacing. And I like to describe what trees are near the characters at any given time or what they're wearing. And so, Julie and I, in addition to sort of separating things by point of view, we're also able to kind of lean on each other a little bit to be like,
Hmm.
can you punch up this dialogue? Or, do you mind adding a little bit of spice here? Or I think mutually now we're both sort of like, can you help me think of this joke?
Right.
Like there's a setup for a joke here and I just can't finish it. And so we're able to sort of help each other out according to kind of what we're strong at.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely do swing into each other's jokes just because we love making each other laugh. But I'm constantly like, can you please describe this damn tree? I don't care about the trees. Like, just take all the trees in my book and see if I care.
Well, I mean, and that's something because there is an author duo who they used to write together and they don't anymore. And it's like individually, like you can definitely tell like which one shined in which aspect of the storytelling. And so it's like, it's just crazy to me. So, do you, as romance writers, face any challenges when like people are talking to you and they're like, what do you do? And you say, I'm a romance writer.
I mean, I think that like we still like when we're in like I don't know, like when you're at the dentist office or something like that, there's still a lot of like head patting, like sure you are, honey.
Hmm.
Like but I think that in general we both try not to leave our houses. So
I mean, that's fair.
but yeah, there's still like a lot of like disconnect with like family and like just other people, like just people in like our everyday lives.
Hmm.
I think for Sierra, it's more of a matter of like her kids are mortified of her, like just deeply embarrassed by her existence in general. And then you layer on the top that like her mom writes not only like romance, but like taboo
Yeah.
romance. And Sierra is very like direct and honest with her kids about like sex, her job, all these different things. And so yeah, those kids just they just gotta grin and bear it, honestly.
I mean, teens will do that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would be embarrassing to them,
No
even if I
matter
was like an
what.
insurance adjuster. So,
Yeah.
why not? And yeah, I would say that it's almost harder with people in real life. I do feel like when I first started writing romance, there was kind of a double stigma where I think mainstream publishing still definitely had romance bucketed as a sort of entertainment only sort of
Mm.
genre, and kind of, mostly for women at that. And so there was kind of a dismissal of its literary value, of its cultural value.
Yeah.
And it was very funny, being sort of new to the genre because I'm like, this stuff is amazing. Like this stuff is
Well, and
like
it's a billion-dollar industry.
it's a huge industry. And all the consumers and read I shouldn't say consumers like it's a product, but I mean truly when we're talking about industry, like
Hmm.
people who are buying these books recognize the power and delight in them.
Yeah.
And you're just going to ignore the like single largest cohort of book buyers in
Yeah.
America. That's wild. And there was also sort of a stigma in particular against indie romance, that
Hmm.
self-published romance was, definitely less than. It was, kind of basically garbage.
Yeah.
And what I have seen in the industry is a largely positive development, I think, on both of those fronts. I think we've really seen people pushing for and advocating for the recognition of romance as a powerful tool to advocate for stories of inclusion, stories about marginalized romance and happily ever afters, the power of equality inside of this genre, and using this genre as a vehicle for just giving dignity and humanity to a huge swath of people. And also that like joy and earnestness are not valueless. I think that
Hmm.
there's sort of this idea that like if you're reading for escape, then that is, suspect and the things are suspect in them. And so I think it's important to be like, yes, romance is this vehicle for ideas that can be subversive, that can be, progressive and inclusive, but also like it's fun. And I think
Hmm.
there's value to fun. And I think that we have to, there has been this sort of, as a creative writing major, I was there firsthand. Like there is this like decades long project in publishing for like unfun books to be sort of held up as like important, somehow almost by dint of them being unfun.
Hmm.
And then it's like, you child, you infant, you wanted this to be enjoyable. How dare you? And so I have been really lucky to see that development, and also in publishing. I think in the last few years in particular, I think I've seen a recognition from traditional publishers that indie authors are connecting with readers,
Yeah.
in a way that traditional publishers haven't always been.
Right.
And so I really appreciate that sort of acknowledgement, by them sort of opening their doors a little bit to indie authors to, have print only deals or distribution deals, because I think there's less stigma to it now.
Hmm.
I mean, romance keeps the lights on at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So there's like awards bait books out there and like just like critical darlings, and those things have their place, of course, but like the reason why those books can exist, especially in a climate right now that we're seeing in publishing,
Hmm.
is because romance writers are out here publishing these books. Like
Right.
that's where that advance money comes from. That's where the money to hire the cover designer for those books, that's where this comes from, is romance.
Hmm. So let's switch gears. Let's talk fundamentals of being a good girl. It comes out January 13th, 2026. It's nanny, single dad, professor. He is not, she's not his student. They are coworkers. Um, so you guys have co-written a bunch of holiday books, and this one is not holiday. What made you essentially jump ship from the holiday to this?
I can
We
tell
were,
you
yeah,
exactly the moment we were in a car on
Okay.
our way from Austin or to Austin. We were about to do an event and we were trying to think of a title for the third Christmas Notch book.
Okay.
And we had like kind of the holiday books are hard because you have to have these like holiday words in the title, but you can't use naughty or spice, or there's like another one because Walmart and sometimes even Target will get like a little wary of
Right.
putting a book that has naughty in the title on their bookshelves. And even if Walmart doesn't ultimately carry your books, your publisher wants the option for Walmart to carry your books. So,
Hmm.
like, you can only use Christmas words or holiday words, but like half of them are verboten
Right.
and the other half have already been taken. And so we got to a point on this car ride where we were trying to make something rhyme with frankincense. And then I was like, we cannot write any more holiday
Yeah.
books. I am out of puns and rhymes. And yeah, Julie luckily thought she was the one who thought of a Jingle Bell Mingle, and it was perfect for the book. But after that, I think we were like, we have to be free. We have to be
Yeah.
free of the holiday word prison.
I mean, you like if you look at like our title brainstorming documents for these books, it looks like someone is spirit writing. Like like someone from like the 20s is like trying to contact the dead. It's like that's what it looks like. It's just absolutely absurd. So we love the holiday books, and we had so much fun doing them, but I don't think that they are a permanent destination for
Okay.
us. I mean I can't imagine that we won't go back to a holiday book of some sort someday. We're both dying to do a Halloween book.
Oh, that would
But
be fun.
yeah, but it was actually kind of perfect for us with our first foray into writing together with such busy schedules
Hmm.
because it meant that
I'm
Uh,
so s- I'm so
it's
sorry. My
okay.
internet like crapped out. Like nobody is in my house today. My internet was like, I'm gonna stop working now. Okay.
No
I have
worries.
terrible internet. It's fine. And I'm supposed to have like the best internet, and my husband insists I'm the only one who has trouble, which
Problems.
is very
No.
gaslighty.
It
And I'm
is
like,
gaslighty.
convenient for you who never needs to use the house internet because you
Hmm.
work a job in a different building. Like, I
Yeah.
am the one who has to deal with the house internet all day. I know. I'm living it.
Well,
And even
usually,
then, he doesn't have
usually,
to deal with like things getting recorded.
well,
Yeah.
Anyways.
and usually if I'm at home by myself, it's fine because like if everybody's like home, my son is gaming, my daughter is like talking to her friends, my husband's sitting playing games too, so it's like everything's bogged down. But today it
Can
was
I
just
ask
like
you real fast before we get started again? How old is your son?
he's 14.
So, do you ever hear the shrieking from his room while he's gaming?
Well, he actually games downstairs.
Oh,
Um, and so there is shrieking like the one day, like full like curdle like scream because something like
yes,
jumped. He's like
yes.
he's like, yes, I did that. It scared me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We'll just be like Julie and her husband and my husband will be like watching a TV show and we'll just hear my son's room is actually in our basement.
Hmm.
And we'll just hear like
Yeah.
yeah.
just
It sounds
shrieks.
like yeah, a woman shrieking
Oh,
like
well, so
below us. Yeah.
funny thing is though, my husband is 6 foot and like 220 or something like that. Like he's not a small guy, but you like talk to him, he's like very soft spoken, squeals like a little girl if he gets scared. Like our
Oh.
one of our old neighbors, they were standing at a fence talking, and like a mole ran, and my husband squealed, and my neighbor, like he loves telling that story. Because he's like, I never thought that high of a pitch could come out of your husband. I'm
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
God, I love
it
it.
Yeah,
happens.
that's amazing.
Okay, so let's go back to the book. Um, so we have Bram and Maddie. Bram is one of those guys where he's a good guy, but he has like this underbelly of not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bram
He's a
is I think Bram is one of our favorite heroes that we've written in a while. I mean, we love all of our heroes, but Bram is a he's just like a little surprise, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, he's got like a little, it's like a dirty chai latte where it's like a little espresso in the chai,
Yeah.
I think he's got, or like, you know, when people put a little bit of like chilies in their cinnamon roll, like he's just
Hmm.
like a chili cinnamon roll. So I think that we wanted to write someone that was, you know, capable of acting his age in the sense
Hmm.
that Bram is, you know, he's fully in his mid 30s. He's been divorced. His divorce is very friendly, very
Hmm.
amicable. He has a great co-parenting relationship. He's just like a responsible, mature guy. He's a
Yeah.
tenured professor. And we wanted to write someone who is, you know, acting his age and also capable of the kind of brat taming, I
Yeah.
guess, you know, that we felt like Maddie would need. Like she is such a spicy meatball. She is, you know, I don't know if we ever say her birthday, but she's definitely a Scorpio. And, you know, she needs someone who's not afraid to get in there and grab her by the tail and like put
Hmm.
her back in the terrarium. And so we really wanted to make sure that like he was able to match her and also at the same time be such a caretaker of her as well in a way that no one else has been.
Well, I think like as you read the book, like we meet Maddie and like she's very sure of herself, but not sure of herself either. But as the book progresses, like you find out like why she's kind of stunted herself because of like situations. And I'm not going to give anything away because you need to read it. But it's one of those things where like he really brings out the Maddie of Maddie. And I think that they balance each other in that way because she allows him to like dive into that like gray area he likes to avoid now because he's like, I need to be responsible. But he allows her to really shine as herself.
Yeah, I think that Bram is truly interested in the parts of Maddie that she's had to suppress.
Yeah.
The parts of her that were deemed unlikable or prickly, like those are the parts that like Bram finds like arousing. Like he
Hmm.
is so into those parts of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we also wanted to sort of like, you know, there's I would say there's sort of like a lowercase p political like bent to the book in the sense that Maddie is she's a law grad, her ex-fiance is looking to, you know, run for the House of Representatives in California. She ends up meeting like a political fixer in Kansas who,
Hmm.
you know, has connections all over the place. And there's, so when I say lowercase p, it's not sort of like, you know, you're not going to be reading like the Atlantic article
Yeah.
when you're reading the book,
Hmm.
but these are characters who are thinking about, the mechanics of politics and stuff like that. And Bram has a little bit of like a spotty past
Hmm.
as, you know, someone who has really been passionate about changing things and has maybe gone around it about it in a way that's legally suspect. And so there is a little bit of like Maddie is, you know, so passionate about changing the world and he's sort of already lived through that place of being young and full of energy and thinking that things have a very like if I could just get in there, you know, if I could just
Hmm.
have my way for an hour, I would fix everything. And Bram has kind of already gone through that and on the other side. And this is kind of what we were interested in with an age gap relationship is like not just sort of the salaciousness of it, but like what's the difference between 26 and 35? You know,
Right.
like what is you know, someone who is, you know, Maddie is fully matured. She's fully, you know, stepping into this new
Hmm.
part of her life. She is a law grad, you know, she has ambitions for her future. But like at 35, like another 10 years, and you've really seen a lot more. And so like what is sort of the difference between those two things and how can they sort of inform each other? I think we were kind of interested in that.
Well, and with both their stories, I mean, Bram, like he has money, he is established, but there was a time in his life where he and Sarah, his ex-wife, they struggled. Like they had to make it on their own. And but that is one thing that I love about this story too, is we have so many single parent books where the relationship and the co-parent is not like it's bad or it's very tension filled, but like these two genuinely like each other and care about each other, and you have such a positive spin on that. And I think that is like one of the things that makes this book work so well is like Bram's friend group and the fact that Sarah is still like so much a part of that.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we were keeping an eye on from the beginning was
Hmm.
that relationship and making sure that like it was very amicable and that they were like not only it wasn't not only amicable, but they were like positive forces in each other's
Yes.
lives and were constantly rooting for the success of the
Hmm.
other.
Yeah.
Um, because I think there can be like I feel like high school sweethearts can go so many different directions. Sierra is married to her high school sweetheart. She got married on her 18th birthday. Scandalous. And but you change so much. You become
Yeah.
such a different person in that time. And I think that it's just such a sweet thing that they are so like fond of each other and like they still just have like such soft spots for each other, but
Hmm.
also it wasn't what it was when they were 15, you
Right.
know?
Well, and the friend group themselves, like they're very polarizing in a way. Like they're so different, but they have like this strong connection that you just, I mean, I anytime Leo was on the page, I'm like, what kind of ridiculous things is going to come out of this guy's mouth?
Oh my God, don't get us started on Leo St. James. I think that Leo is, we can solidly say our favorite character we've ever written.
He's such a scene stealer, I feel
Hmm.
like.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're an author, like it just happens to you. I feel like it's just like an asteroid that just falls from the sky. Like you don't, it's not like we sat down when we were
Uh-huh.
plotting and we were like, okay, and the secondary character is gonna steal the scenes. We were like, okay, here's our, we want him to be tall and work for an
Hmm.
evil chocolate company. And then just every time he showed up, he was just delightful. He's just like a character from like Brideshead Revisited, but
Yeah.
kind of horny.
Well, there was one time where he like is in Bram's office and Bram's like, where did he get the whiskey? And it's just like he has like this like glass and like of whiskey and he's like, I don't have whiskey in my office. Like he just
It's
like
like
pulled it out of thin air like a
Yeah. Yeah.
magician.
I
that's
think
that's
like
just the magic of Leo.
we've talked about this so often that like our secondary characters, like we fall so hard for them
Hmm.
because you and what's great is when those secondary characters end up becoming primary characters and they're like built in such interesting, complex ways
Yep.
because when you're writing them as secondary characters, like the stakes are so much lower.
Yeah.
Like you can allow them to do ridiculous things or have like all these random, like impossible seeming quirks because you don't have to like you're not committed yet to like their character arc and the plot and all this stuff. Like they can just like chew the scenery and just be absurd.
When
I
even
think
Matt, oh no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was also gonna say I think our secondary characters have a problem where they don't know that they're secondary characters. You know,
Yes.
they
I
definitely think
actually
they're the primary characters.
I think that this should be our new website tagline. Like secondary characters who don't know that they're not primary characters.
Well, and with Maddie, like Bram has this really great found family that he created. But Maddie, like she has her mom, she has her brother, she has her sister-in-law, and they're very close, but she also like tries to hold herself separate because it's almost like she doesn't want to feel like they have to do things for her. And she wants that independence, but she is struggling, but not at the same time.
Yeah, I think that like one we knew from the very beginning that like we wanted Bram to have this friend group and that this friend group was going to be sort of the spine of the series.
Hmm.
But it was also really important to us when we were writing Maddie that she is sort of coming into the story from kind of an isolated place. And some of
Hmm.
that isolation is by choice, and some of it is geographic. She's just
Right.
moved from California, where her family is, to back to Kansas, where her family used to be from. And they've since moved, but now she's back in Kansas and she's really kind of apart. And some of, I think, the most fun and tender moments of the story that aren't between Bram and Maddie is Maddie finding friendship with these sort of unlikely
Hmm.
people. So she meets this very shy, cat-loving
I
librarian
really like
on
Jeannie.
campus. Yeah, Junie, who's just, very adorable. And then she meets, I think we can basically say it's Catherine Hahn from Parks and Rec, but this political fixer who,
Yeah,
is
oh
just,
my God, yes.
yeah, who's just
Okay,
like
there
quite
is
a
a Catherine
character.
Hahn in every single one of our books,
There
just so
is a
you
Catherine
know.
Hahn in every one of
Just
our
it's
books. We
like
really
where's
like
Waldo,
Catherine
where's
Hahn.
Catherine Hahn?
She totally is now that you say that. And now I'm not going to be able to picture her as anything else.
That's
That's
right. That's how we
we're
want it.
honored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy with that.
I mean, I love me some Parks and Rec. So,
Yeah.
what is next for the two of you?
So, we are working on the next book in the Academic Affairs series, and we're really excited about this one. This is going to be the story of Sloane St. James, who is Leo's cousin, and a little bit about her journey. She has the book actually opens. So, Fundamentals of Being a Good Girl opens on a night where the group of friends goes out to celebrate her divorce.
Hmm.
And they're like, Congratulations. It's so funny because I do think that, being us coming into our 30s and 40s, when you grow up, you hear divorce like a bad word, and so you're like, oh, I'm so sorry that you got divorced. And then in your 30s and 40s, you're like, oh no, toast to you, congrats.
Yeah.
Your life is just beginning again. So they go out, they have a night to celebrate her divorce. And book two is really about she's made a decision about what kind of phase she would like to have after her divorce. It has two words. It starts with H and ends with O. And
Like Sarah did when, like, her and Bram got
yes,
divorced.
exactly. And so she's like, I'm going to make this happen. So it's a little bit about that. And then we do have a book for a certain tall, evil, occasionally tuxedo wearing um,
Hoping
chocolatier
that
plan
I was
too.
really hoping he would be next, but I didn't know if you were going to just kind of tease that.
We tease. We like to save the
Yeah.
one that we're the most interested in for last. It's kind of like our delayed gratification.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am excited for Sloane too, because she seems
Yeah.
like, not that she doesn't seem like a deep person, but she seems like she's so much more than like what we got.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think she'll get to let her hair down a little bit in this book. So we're really excited about that. And then
Yeah.
I have a solo book coming up this summer in July. It's called Devil. It is the next book in my pre-series. It's a standalone, an older woman, younger man relationship. And it's kind of on the darker end, I would say. So it's definitely one that you'll probably want to check out content warnings for because there is a little bit of like a stalker aspect to it and like a little bit of a bully aspect. But I was like, well, I can't write a book called Devil and have him be like a nice guy. Like he's got to kind of earn the title. So that one is one that I'm working on right now and I'm pretty excited about.
Is he called Morning Star at all?
I should have, yeah, just like a
Yeah.
little.
There you go. There you go. So we this actually will probably air before sometime after Monday, I'm assuming. And on Monday we're actually announcing a new project that we're working on that's a collection of essentially naughty bedtime stories called Talk Dirty to Me.
Okay.
And it's going to be like a very audio focused project. And we're really excited about working with that. We're working on that. It's going to release in print as well. But that'll be something that I think we're probably releasing next year. TBD, depending on how quickly we write. But that's a new project that we're really excited about. And let's see, next year I have too many books coming out because that's just the way the cookie crumbled. And in May, I have a book coming out called Student Union
Okay.
about a girl who loses her housing grant in college and decides, or then learns that there's a little bit of a workaround and that married students can live together. And so she sort of corners the only person she knows at this university, which is her childhood frenemy, and proposes to him. And so it's about their sort of marriage of convenience. And then in the summer, I have another book coming out that took me like I don't know, like 8 years to write or something just ridiculous, called Vera Stein is Fine. And it's about a woman who's just turned 40. She's been a caretaker for most of her life, caretaking for her mother who was sick and recently passed away. And her life sort of implodes soon after that. And she has to go track down her grandmother in the desert because she has nowhere else to live. And her
Okay.
grandmother lives in Palm Springs at a retirement home for actors. And so she has to sort of couch surf at her grandmother's retirement facility, and then possibly meets a cute doctor who she might have once known and spent a night with in Vegas when she was in her 20s.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to all of these. For those of you like who have not read Fundamentals of Being a Good Girl, please go grab it. It is worth the read. And until next time, happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.